Today we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of Nintendo Switch 2 dock alternatives that are not $125. This video is brought to you by D-Brand, more on them later. The Nintendo Switch 2 dock that comes with your Switch 2 is fantastic, and if you want a second one, it's $125. If you try to use the Switch 1 dock or a lot of other adapters that you've had that work with USB-C and worked with every other device that you own, you realize that it didn't work with the Switch 2. That's because it does a pretty complex handshake. Well, over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of developments in backward engineering the handshake, and now there is a lot of cheap products on the market. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of cheap Nintendo Switch 2 docks and determine which ones are fantastic, being $25 instead of $125, and which ones fall into the classic category of hot garbage. In another episode that I like to call Austin Reviews Stuff from Amazon for Nintendo Products. I should make a splash screen for it if I did this more often. Real quick, don't know if you saw it, I'm on the lego.com website where I'm doing a build competition for Minecraft and other games. If you want to go to lego.com/gamers and check out my competition there and see where I am on the leaderboard and maybe vote for me. Okay, enough of that and this really cool Minecraft Dragon's Egg. We have a regular Nintendo Switch 2. We go ahead, put it in the Switch 2 dock. I have power over here. I have HDMI over there. And then it's going to be showing up in that corner right there. Perfect. And this is our baseline. It's the Switch 2 dock, the one that comes in the box. We know that it works great. Let's move on. All of these devices were either marketed as or compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. So all of them, in theory, should work. And considering that all of them are marketed to work out of the box, I'm going to accept no level of tomfoolery when it comes to making it work, other than possibly a small wiggle. It's like buying a car, the guy says, yeah, the car runs, however, there's a grizzly bear who lives in there, so as long as you can deal with the grizzly bear, it's a perfectly working car, which in theory, yes it is. First one we're going to be taking a look at is by AO Lion. Multifunction charging dock with RGB, so it has a little RGB strip there, and honestly, this looks very similar to a stripped down Nintendo Switch 1 dock. On the box, I don't see any marketing that says that it works with the Switch 2 except for this sticker that says Nintendo Switch 2/1/OLED. This thing is extremely light. This is definitely less than a half of a pound. We have what appears to be two USB 2.0s and a USB 3.0, power input and HDMI. Let's plug in the HDMI. Let's plug in the OEM cable. This did not come with cables or anything else. We can see that the light immediately turns on. And then we can make it flash in case we, want to be distracted while gaming. We plug in the Switch 2. It goes black. Good signs. It works. Okay. Fantastic. This is our first one out of the box with a fun little RGB strip. This bottom base has 4 rubber feet, so it actually staying pretty damn well on the desk. If we have a larger case, what I think is happening here and how easily it comes off, because of the bottom of the case here, it doesn't have enough clearance for the actual USB-C itself. So when it sits in there, it's not actually making full connection with the pins. So this does not work with a thicker bottomed case. This one is sold on Amazon for $29.99 and specifically says that it does not come with a charger or a cable. Can I just plug this into this desktop power bank and it draws the appropriate amount of power? We have a power draw. We have a black screen. We have game. Okay, great. So yeah, it looks like just any HDMI cable, and as long as you have an appropriate enough power source going through, you should be good to go with this. And 3 USBs on it, especially if you don't have an Ethernet cable going to your Switch 2. Great little dock. Nothing bad to say about it. Great bang for your buck. I also want to add one thing in particular, because the front is so low. This would be good if you have like a low shelf on a console and like your Switch is in there and you typically have to take the dock out to then put the Switch on into the dock. This might be able to actually alleviate that.
It's also smaller, so for me, actually, this is the only way it's gonna fit down here.
Okay, next up is Switch 2 compatible 3-in-1. So this has an HDMI, a USB-C, and a USB 3.0. There is no charger cable or anything else. It is just a dongle. Yeah, some of these are dongles, so if you're looking for a real lightweight thing, by the way, this thing is very light, like actual weight. Let's go ahead and plug this bad boy in here. And screen goes black. We have power draw appropriate. And we're on. 2 for 2. Okay, so I bought 2 of these that look almost identical. This one is $25 and sold by a company called Clipdace, and there's a coupon price for $19.96, so let's say 20 bucks. Plus you need your own HDMI and power cable, cool. And then there's also this one that looks like an identical product. This is the exact same product. The only thing different is what's printed with this UV printer over here. The case is more rounded off. I doubt that's actually something that's going to impact your choice. Works no problem. This one is by a company called Tanatra, and it's $18.99. Coupon price is 17 bucks. So for $3 cheaper, you get this identical product than the previous one. Okay, by the way, there's gonna be links for everything down below. I might do affiliate links if you choose to click on the affiliate link. I think I make like 3 cents per your purchase or something ridiculously low like that. I might actually end up keeping both of these because whenever I travel, I like a dongle system just for quick, easy, plug it into the TV, don't have to worry about it, keep the very lightweight style. And this typically fits in like a lot of the zipper clamshell cases. Okay, so here's my D-brand kill switch, which is my preferred case because, let's be honest, it's the best, but it's expensive. This is gonna be really, really funny if this works. Oh, I can actually tuck the cable in there a little bit. Wow, look at that. This dock fits inside of the kill switch if you remove the game case holder. That's pretty cool, and especially because I don't really have a lot of physical games for my Switch 2. In fact, I have no physical games for the Switch 2 because why would you when they're just game key cards? And this is typically what I keep my Switch 2 game cards in, and then I also have like this thing that is the size of a Switch 2 case that holds 12 games. I really like this. Totally for this. Okay, cool. By the way, yeah, D-Brand is the sponsor of this video. Their kill switch is the ultimate case for your Switch 2. It comes with this protective screen, it comes with this game card holder, and on top of that, it comes with this dock adapter that goes right into your Nintendo Switch dock. And then it just sits there with the case on it, so you never actually have to take the case off. All that comes as a bundle. You can get it at dbrand.com/AustinJohnPlays, or they're now in Best Buy, including the Kill Switch 2. They also have the new style of guardrail, so you don't actually ever have to worry about your Nintendo Switch falling off if you decide to do this for some reason. Next up, let's go from the budget end of the spectrum to the fancy end of the spectrum. This is the 2/1 Switch compatible for Switch game card. It doesn't have a name, okay? It's a thing. It looks like a Mario brick. It's now unboxed. Why is this a game card that then plugs into what? Hang on. So if I'm reading this right, this is not only a dock for the Nintendo Switch, but this is a game card switcher. You put game cards in here, you put this in the Switch 2, this plugs in, it's also a dock, has one USB on it, and you just press this button to switch between the game cards. I will believe this black magic when I see it. So here I have a copy of Pokemon Violet. Oh yeah, that's spring mechanism in there. 2, 3, 4. Listen, if this is real, like if this actually does this, that's gonna be kind of neat, kind of impressive. Okay, first things first, does it work as a dock? Put it in, screen turns black, and success. Okay, it's a dock. It looks like a Mario brick. It holds 4 game cartridges. Now let's see if this black magic works. Okay, that goes in there. It's a little bit of a tight reach with the cable. Did that just work? Hang on. Yeah, there's my physical copy of Echoes of Wisdom. Physical copy of Breath of the Wild. It's unloaded. Pokemon Violet is loaded. You can even see that it unloads the cartridge. Unloaded. PLA. That is neat. Is this just dock deactivate mode? And now it goes back here. And now it's back on. And wait, in TV off mode, this button works too? Yeah. Guys, this is cool. I did not read these well when I bought them. Does this come at like an extreme premium compared to the others? If this is 30 bucks, if this is the same price as like the first little dock holder that we looked at and it has that functionality, 40 bucks. Coupon price is $35, but it does have that functionality of swapping between your owned physical cartridges, which this is not a MIG switch, you're not falsifying data. It's literally just a pass through. That's then unconnecting from one and connecting to the other digitally, not physically, with dock on and off for 10 bucks more, but it's still $85 less than the Switch 1 dock. You do lose a little bit of connectivity because we only have one USB on the back, so there is that small trade-off, but this thing is cool. And if you so wanted to, you could just put the physical cartridge back in here like you normally do. You know, your 4 regular games are in there, and here's a temporary one. And then as soon as you want to, let's just see if this works on the fly without like unplugging it and plugging it back in. Plug it right in. Works on the fly. Great product. First one actually bringing some of it to the table other than it's cheaper than the Switch 2 dock. Who makes this? Clip Dase. That's the same people who made the cheap dongle, right? Yeah, it is the same people who make the cheap dongle. Okay, so they have the $20/$25 cheap dongle, and they have this crazy over-the-top thing for $40/$35. The only thing like slightly bad about it, like if I had to pick something, I think the connection point here is a little rough feeling. I would have liked maybe a softer landing for the Switch 2 to sit in if I had to pick something. Oh, and I realized that there's also storage for 6 more cartridges in the back. Great product. Let's bring it back to basics with another simple dongle. This one is what I'm just gonna call the MacBook dongle because this looks exactly like what all the dongles for the MacBook came out with. It's very slim. It's a cheap plastic that's made to look like aluminum. Plug it in, screen turns black, game turns on. Pretty simple dongle. It's advertised as USB 3.2. Nice, cheap, easy connectivity. This one by VeloLink is $33. Okay, so if you want one that looks more adult than the bright blue ones I showed before, but I also bought another that is pretty much the exact same product, even in another little felt pouch. Okay, this is the exact same product with a different brand on it, isn't it? It's ever so slightly darker. So if you have a space gray MacBook, is the depth exactly the same? That's exactly the same. This one is advertised as only a USB 3.0, so either there's a different motherboard in there or one of them is lying. And there we go. Okay, this one is the exact same thing as the last one, and it's 30 bucks as opposed to this one, which is 33 bucks. Okay, 2 exact same products, one's cheaper. Buy the cheaper one, there's no difference. And the very last one that we're gonna be taking a look at is this by Gemdo. I reviewed a case by them. I don't remember if it was good or not. Editing Austin, do you have that clip?
Actually, it's not a case. They make this slim grip that I love. Typically how I play, I don't like the Pro Controller, it hurts my hands. But I just use the Joy-Cons with the D brand grips that come with the kill switch, and then I just put them on here and they're magnetized. That's why I know the company Gemdo. They do good stuff. I like this.
Oh, this is a very different product. Okay, this one is a cable dongle. It has a very nice branded cable tie, and there's a power in and an HDMI out. So like, yeah, 6.5 feet, 2 meter cable. And this plugs directly into the TV. So slim up against the TV. You have to make sure that you have that clearance. Okay, it's in. And it works. Wow. Wow. Guys, listen, compared to the video that I reviewed a whole bunch of cases for the Switch 2 and more than half of them were hot garbage, every single one of these products works, which is great. You know, I want to review products that are good. Any of these products that you buy that is advertised for the Switch 2 in the description down below works, which is fantastic. Now, Let's compare them a little bit here. Let's do a whole roundup. This one at the very beginning by A.O. Lion is the only one that's just straight up a dock. It has 3 USBs, whereas the OEM Nintendo Switch dock has 2 USBs and the Ethernet. So if you don't use the Ethernet and you want space for another USB accessory, get this all day, every day, much cheaper. You could buy 4 of these for the price of 1 OEM dock. Next up, I reviewed 4 dongles that will probably also work with your laptop, MacBook, whatever. Vivo Link is listed at $50, but is currently $33. This one is listed at $38, but is currently $29. Whichever one is cheaper, they're the exact same product. Does not matter. Both of them work. We have this one that is $18.99 that currently has a coupon for 17 bucks. And then we have this one, which is $25 that currently has a coupon for $20. This one is made by the company who does the really cool switcher, so I have a lot of faith in them just straight off of the bat. Either way, you can't go wrong. We're comparing $20 versus $17. This one is coming in at 12.62 millimeters. This one is 12.92 millimeters. This one is ever so slightly thicker, and this one that's more squared off is ever so slightly thinner. Oh, it makes sense because when you have the rounded edges, you have to compensate that for that in the size. These are both injection molded plastic. Can't really go wrong. It really comes down to, do you want the bright blue animated color or do you want the much more muted adult color? Comparing this $17 one to this $30 one, if you want to look like an adult, you got to pay like an adult. And then the last 2 things to talk about are this fun cable dock thing that plugs into the back of a TV and then has a 6.5-foot cable. If you're going to use this, you have to make sure that you have the clearance on the back 50 millimeters, less than 2 inches. So yeah, this should fit behind any TV that a Chromecast or one of the Google ones will, so I don't think you're gonna have an issue with that. And this one is in a category all its own, that it also allows you to dock 4 cartridges, store 6 more, swap between them, that plugs into the Nintendo Switch self. I've never seen anything like it. This is a really neat product. So I finished up the video and the recording, and you guys had fantastic follow-up questions and very appropriate follow-up questions that I maybe didn't mention or I didn't go over. And I realized that for a dock, you may want to know that specific information. And rather than me just having a very large pinned comment, this is now the second part of the video. There was the issue in 2017 with a lot of the Nintendo Switch 1 docks that were bricking consoles. Is there any chance that these third-party docks can do that? That happened from an improper power delivery from the adapter to the dock. So that's the reason that none of these are going to be shipping with a power adapter. It's completely on you to supply your own power adapter. If you're ever in doubt, highly recommend you just go and buy an additional OEM one. How much are they charging for those? 35 bucks. Not the worst number I've seen from them. 35 bucks, not the worst. Really isn't. I've just been using either my MacBook Pro charger, which is USB-C, or there were also a bunch of questions as far as what power thing I have on my desk. This is called the Anchor Prime Charging Station, 240 watt, 8-in-1 USB-C power strip. It has 2 USB-A's on this side, 4 USB-C's here, 2 outlets, and live monitoring of all of the individual power delivery. I bought this thing forever ago. It's just been sitting on my desk. Whatever I throw at it, it can handle. I also bring it with me on vacation because I could charge my computer, cameras, phones, AirPods, laptop. I plug like 10 things into it and it just handles it no problem. If you're worried about anything and you don't trust third-party docks, nothing I say or do in this video is going to change your mind. Does it work with other devices? For the docks themselves, they work with the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. No issues whatsoever. The Switch 1 I tested on the OLED. It was very snappy to respond. The brick one, also the game dongle thing, worked for the Switch 1. Some people have said that Wood Beat-em-Ups tested this with Switch 2 cartridges. I don't own Switch 2 cartridges because everything I have is either digital or it's a Switch 1 upgrade pack, so I can't test that. Had I known this in advance, I would have bought it. So supposedly it does not work with Switch 2 cartridges because of the read and or write speed of the cartridge. cannot verify that myself. My apologies. I also tested all of the dongles with my iPhone 17 Pro. They all worked, and a 16 Pro. I'm just gonna list all the things because everything worked. iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro, my 14-inch MacBook Pro, my girlfriend's 15-inch MacBook Air, and a Steam Deck, and all of the things worked, no problem. There was a question as far as lag or latency issues. I loaded up DK Bonanza and I just went in here and I started hitting stuff because that's what DK does. All of the docks and dongles, I did not notice any latency at all more than the OEM dock. If there is any latency at all, it would have to be a very difficult amount to detect. I definitely don't feel anything wrong, if that makes sense. People asked about image quality or strange colors. I did not see any strange colors. I also don't run HDR just because it makes editing an absolute nightmare.
So I spent some time converting my setup into an HDR workflow and then now rendering it down to non-high dynamic range. I don't like the way HDR looks on the Switch 1. Like if I'm playing No Man's Sky on the PC and I want to have like a fun immersive experience, I know I'm not recording the day, I'll switch over to HDR. So right here, I'm gonna have a clip, and on the left-hand side is HDR on the right-hand side is HDR off, and then this is on, I think, the cheapest dongle. The left side, it doesn't look great. But then again, I don't think that the OEM Switch looked great either. I can tell you that with HDR turned off, it looks pretty much the same, except for maybe the clouds being a little bit more blown out. Or maybe that was the time of day in DK Bonanza as time passed.
Someone else pointed out something that's even on the listings page. The fun blue colored ones, these run at 2K and 4K, so 1440p and 4K resolution at 60 hertz. And the more expensive silver ones that are in the bag, those are rated for 4K at 120 hertz. Don't have any games that run 120 hertz on the Nintendo Switch. If you're looking for like very specific high quality, no lag, no latency, ultra HDR, and no issues whatsoever, if you're looking for the ultimate experience that's going to be the absolute best, I don't think that's going to come from a $20 alternative to the $125 dock. If you're looking for the ultimate experience, get another dock or get one of these as your cheap dock. Know what I mean? People are worried about the game switcher banning your console. I'm not a programmer here. I don't know what they specifically looked for on the MIG Switch to ban those consoles. To the best of my knowledge, there's a healthy amount of putting pieces of a puzzle together here because there's not official documentation on this. It's going to be from the MIG Switch ripping a cartridge and then emulating the information of the cartridge, as opposed to this, that it's just going between the different ones and showing the individual physical cartridges. In my mind, I'm equating that to the same thing as an extender. Some people state that on these small dongles that there is no fan. Correct. Their Switch 2 gets hot while playing in TV mode. You may only want to use it on short sessions. That's very valid. Not all the games really ramp up the fan. Like DK Bonanza does not tax the system nearly as hard as Mario Kart World does. So certain games may push the system further. There was also some people saying that the fan is mostly there to help cool the battery. Whatever you think works for you, your house, your work style, your backpack, your loadout, go ahead and get it. One last thing before I go, I hope you have a great day. That's it. If you found the video helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John.
Man, they see me shining like I got the charm. Stay strapped, got that jet ball in my palm. Fell from the sky, guess I'm the chosen one. And if you need to know how, check out Austin John. Champion flow, yeah, I got that champion flow.